Hey, what's up, everybody? Gonna do a classic rock reaction, man. And this is a complimentary quad featuring 4 different artists. First, Saxon doing Strong Arm of the Law, followed by Angel Witch doing White Witch, followed by Iron Maiden doing Prodigal Son, and finally Def Leppard, When the Walls Come Tumbling Down. So, man, before I pop this off, I just want to give a shout out and a thanks to Don D. Thanks for the recommendation, Don. He's got a note. He says, Hi STB, here's a brief intro to the movement known as the New Wave of British Heavy Metal. This was a grassroots movement that had its heyday during the years of 79 to 82 and gave us a few big names, although most of it remained pretty obscure. This mini renaissance of creativity was the bridge between the second wave metal bands of the 70s like Priest, Scorpions, UFO, and Rainbow, and the later American thrash movements of Metallica, Slayer, Overkill, etc. There's a lot more to discover from this short-lived era, but here's the start. It should also be noted that the Def Leppard track is from their first album, When They Still Rocked Hard. Enjoy. Very, very important thing to keep of note for sure. It's good stuff. All right, man, so let's hit up our first track, Saxon, Strong Arm of the Law. Strong Arm of the Law, and it's a music video. Let's get it. That cop is determined to find something. interesting story being told there. Very relatable of sorts, I'm sure. Back in the day, discrimination being what it was, you long-haired, dope-smoking, wayward, all of this sort of rebellious person, yeah, I'm gonna find a way to make sure that I nail you. So that's what these guys are singing about. I'm sure that they had some discrimination issues. I remember stories like that, Bob Seger walking into a restaurant with his long hair and everything, and people are looking at him like he's a woman and all of this sort of thing, and whispering and stuff like that. I believe it was Led Zeppelin where they were actually shooed out of a restaurant at gunpoint, so yeah, man, back in the days, yeah, let me tell you, these guys sometimes didn't have it always rosy, They had to pay their dues and they had to go against the grain and sometimes swim uphill. So that's what this song is all about. Okay, good tune, good band, good sounding band, good looking band. They perform well. Saxon, huh? Saxon are an English heavy metal band formed in 1977 in Barnsley. As leaders of the new wave of British heavy metal, they had 8 UK Top 40 albums in the 1980s, including 4 UK Top 10 albums and 2 Top 5 albums. They had numerous singles in the UK singles chart and chart success all over Europe and Japan, as well as success in the US. Oh wow, okay. And they were busy, man. 12 albums altogether. They're certainly not a flash in the pan. During the 80s, Saxon established themselves among Europe's most successful metal acts. The band toured regularly, and by 2015 have sold more than 15 million albums worldwide. They've also been cited as a major influence or inspiration by notable bands including Motley Crue, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, Pantera, Skid Row, Dream Theater. Damn. Okay, man, they've influenced a lot of people. Let's scroll down. Strong Arm of the Law is the third studio album by English heavy metal band Saxon. It was released in 1980, 7 months after Wheels of Steel, and debuted on the UK chart at number 11. The last track, Dallas 1 p.m., concerns the assassination of JFK. Quote, "We thought, should we put one shot in there, and should we put 3? Recalled singer Biff Byford. In the end, we went down the conspiracy theory route and had 3 shots. According to guitarist Graham Oliver, the title track was inspired by an incident where the band was driving in Whitehall and was subsequently pulled over and searched by the security detail of then British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. Wow, so this was a real thing that happened to them that they're singing about here in this song. Reception. Eduardo Rivadavia of AllMusic rated the album 4.5 out of 5 stars. He called it equally timeless to its predecessor, Wheels of Steel, and commented, quote, "All the right ingredients pretty much fell into place for Saxon on this amazing record, and though it lacked as many clear-cut hits as its predecessor, Strong Arm of the Law's unmatched consistency from start to finish makes it the definitive Saxon album in the eyes of many fans and critics," unquote. After their peak with Wheels of Steel, Canadian journalist Martin Popoff was a little disappointed, calling the album comfortable and nostalgic, if ever remarkable, but definitely betraying Saxon's lack of ideas. Despite their stripped, basic and enthusiastic delivery of metal, creatively, Saxon was getting left in the dust, both looking and sounding a bit like Slade, unquote. Wow. What do you think of that? Do you think he's a little bit more on with his ideas and points of view, or a little bit off? Let me know, especially if you're a big fan of Saxon. It's very interesting. All right, man. Let's hit up our next track, and that is White Witch by Angel Witch. Angel Witch, White Witch. Let's get it. Feels like this song is probably part of a bigger concept album. Let me know if I'm right. Right on, man. Interesting story being told, gets your imagination going. And I like how the song slows down in the middle. And then you've got this really awesome instrumental and guitar solo that really gets your wheels turning even more, thinking about the song and getting your visual going. Structure of a great classic rock song. Fantastic. All right, man. So, Angel Witch. Angel Witch are a British heavy metal band which formed in London in '76 as part of the new wave of British heavy metal movement. Angel Witch has been claimed as an influence by many notable metal musicians, including Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, who graced the February 2010 cover of Decibel magazine wearing an Angel Witch shirt, Tom Warrior of Celtic Frost, and Chuck Schuldiner of Death. Bands that have covered Angel Witch songs in concept or on record include, holy shit, yo, man. Yeah, I'm not gonna read all of this, man. There's a lot of bands covering a lot of their songs. Let's go to the next paragraph. In 2007, German label Unbroken Records issued a tribute to Angel Witch compilation album featuring 15 underground metal acts covering songs from the band's early singles and first 3 full-length releases. Angel Witch is the first album by British heavy metal band Angel Witch. The album was released in 1980 through Bronze Records, and since then re-released in 4 editions over the years. The cover features a painting formerly attributed to John Martin titled The Falling Angels Entering Pandemonium. The album made Angel Witch one of the key bands in the new wave of British heavy metal movement. Reception and legacy. Holy cow, there's a lot of entries here for reception. Okay, let's read a couple. Angel Witch received generally very positive reviews. The only exception was the very first review of the album by journalist Paul Suter for the influential British music paper Sounds in 1980. Suter defined the album appalling and weedy, marred by a destructively dreadful production and by weak vocals. Another sound reviewer, Malcolm Dome, on the contrary, loved the album for its aggressiveness mixed with melody and declared it the album of the year, together with Girls' School's Demolition. Canadian reviewer Martin Popoff said that this is the only Angel Witch album of deep importance, being the first panoramic black metal statement of the modern era. Its mix of gothic melody, sinister surprise, and scorching dense riffery establishes the band as genuinely scary and isolated and elevated from the fun-loving metal community of the time. I think that's a compliment. Mike Stagno of Sputnik Music editorial staff reminds how Angel Witch is regarded by many as the new wave of metal bands classic alongside the likes of Iron Maiden, On Through the Night, and Wheels of Steel. And despite some flaws in the general sound, it's a gem. He adds that the band Angel Witch never really achieved what they deserved, unquote. Okay. It seems like they can tell a really excellent story and song, man. And let me know if this was an actual concept albums. You know me, I'm digging the hell out of concept albums these days, and props to anybody who does concept albums in my mind. The AllMusic review underlines this last concept and defines the album a metal classic. Chad Bauer of About.com recommends the album, which deserves much recognition for being one of the new wave metal band's albums responsible for shaping the rise of thrash metal in the mid-80s, and a major part of one of the most important eras of metal. The opening track, Angel Witch, was featured in the 2009 video game Brutal Legend. Alright, man. So that concludes that, and let's hit up our next track, Iron Maiden, Prodigal Son. It's amazing how critics are just so quick to judge, aren't they? I would really like to see the dude that just gave this such a shitty review. I'd like to see his body of work. Where do you come off as being such a damn authority on music, man? Baffles me. Baffling. Alright. Iron Maiden, Prodigal Son. Let's get it. Iron Maiden has that excellent bassist. Forgot his name. Prodigal Son, Iron Maiden. Very fitting title. Excellent tune, man. It wouldn't be surprising if this was the standout song of their album. Excellent song. Great instrumentals in the beginning, great instrumentals in the middle, stretching the shit out of that song. 2 back-to-back guitar solos, yo. Iron Maiden is the jam, man. And that great bass guitarist, oh man. Forgive me, I can't remember the brother's name, but yo, man. That dude is one of the best. One of the best for sure. Alright. Prodigal Son. Prodigal Son appears on Killers. It's the second studio album by English metal band Iron Maiden. It was first released on the 2nd of February 1981 in the UK by EMI Records and on the 6th of June in the US by Harvest and Capitol Records. The album was their first with guitarist Adrian Smith and their last with vocalist Paul Di'Anno, who was fired after problems with his stage performances arose due to his alcohol and cocaine use. Oh, damn. Not surprising, but still very disappointing, isn't it? Killers was also the first Iron Maiden album recorded with producer Martin Birch, who went on to produce their next 8 albums. Background. Killers was the second and final Iron Maiden album with vocalist Paul Di'Anno. Killers is the only Iron Maiden album to feature 2 instrumentals. It was written almost exclusively by Steve Harris. Yeah, that's him. Steve Harris is the bassist. Only Twilight Zone and the title track are co-written. Bar, Murders in the Rue Morgue, based on the story of the same name by Edgar Allan Poe, and Prodigal Son, the songs were written in the years prior to the recording of their debut album. No songs were recorded professionally until the Killer sessions, with the exception of Wrathchild. A version recorded in '79 was featured on the Metal for Mothers compilation. Mothers, M-U-T-H-A-S. The Ides of March is nearly identical to the Thunderburst by fellow British new wave metal band Saxon, who featured a pre-Maiden Bruce Dickinson on vocals. However, the Ides of March was written during the brief time in '77 in which future Saxon drummer Thunderstick was a member of Iron Maiden. While Harris took sole credit for the Ides of March, Thunderburst is credited to Harris and all 4 members of Saxon's head-on lineup. Bruce, aka Bruce Dickinson, Chris Ulmer, Paul Sampson, and Thunderstick, aka Barry Purkis. Killers spent 8 weeks on the UK chart. The North American edition, which came out a few months later, was initially released on Harvest and Capitol Records and subsequently on Sanctuary Records and Columbia Records. The song Twilight Zone was added to the album. The Killer World Tour featured the band's first US shows, beginning at the Aladdin LA in support of Judas Priest. Subsequently, Wrathchild is the only regularly played track from the album, appearing in almost all their tours. The Ides of March is Maiden's shortest song and serves as an intro to their 4th shortest song, Wrathchild. Okay, and that's the info given. So, let's hit up our next track, man. When the Walls Come Tumbling Down. And this is, as Don D says, back when Def Leppard were still rocking hard. All right. Def Leppard, When the Walls Came Tumbling Down. Let's get it.
On the first day of the first month, in some distant year, the whole sky froze golden. Some said it was the aftermath of the radium bomb, while others told of a final retribution, a terrible revenge of the gods.
But we understood the grand finale, fulfillment of a prophecy told many years before. So all that's was left was all the women were captured and chained. The national suicide was proclaimed. New America fell to the ground, and all the children lay crippled and laid. But all the nations came together and feared the thought out the end. No more would we fight in the streets, no courage had we to defend. When the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, everybody raised a scream at the sound. When the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, everybody raised a scream at the sound. The blinding lights, sun had died, a new moon took its place. Tidal waves and open graves fade out beyond human race. The city's heart no longer beats, no pity have I left to lend. The sailor sense exciting Dylan, it's now that I welcome the end. When the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, everybody raised a scream at the sound. When the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, everybody raised a scream at the sound. When the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, everybody raised a scream at the sound. When the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, when the walls came tumbling down, nobody made a sound. Now.
All right. Wow. Well, man, that's a big ass difference from Pour Some Sugar on Me, let me tell you. If you had put this on without telling me it was Def Leppard, it would have taken me quite a while to kind of realize that it's Def Leppard, because of course, when you say Def Leppard, I immediately think of songs like Pour Some Sugar on Me. But yeah, hey, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Don, in regards to back in the day when they still rocked hard. Definitely, man. Sounds like a completely different band altogether. And apologies, you're hearing some boom and some thunder. They're switching out all of the metal containers and the garbage bins in the condo complex here. Like that. So, where am I at here, man? That shit's distracting. Let's see what we can learn about back in the days when Def Leppard still rocked hard. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take a quick break, wait until they finish doing all that shit, and then I'll be back with you. Hang on a minute. When the Walls Came Tumbling Down appears on Through the Night. It's the debut studio album by English rock band Def Leppard, released the 14th of March 1980. The album was produced by Tom Allen. It charted at number 15 on the UK Albums Chart and number 51 on the Billboard 200. The album features re-recorded versions of Rock Off and Overture, tracks from the band's original independently released EP, the Def Leppard EP. Other tracks are re-recorded versions of early demos, some of which later appeared on the 2020 box set The Early Years from 79 to 81. The album was certified gold by the RIAA on the 18th of November in 83 and platinum on the 9th of May in 89. Wasted, Hello America, and Rock Brigade were released as singles. However, the version of Wasted that appears on the single is a different recording from that of the LP, as is its B-side, Hello America. The spoken word intro to When the Walls Come Tumbling Down was performed by Dave Cousins of Straubs. Joe Elliott had done the spoken portion in earlier live performances and demo recordings that showed up on some early bootlegs. In his bio, Cousins claimed that he did his best Laurence Olivier impersonation for the song's intro. It's a pretty good impersonation. Reception. The album received mostly positive reviews. AllMusic Steve Huey noted that On Through the Night established the band as one of the leading lights of the new wave of British heavy metal. Although he stated that it may lack the detailed production and more pop-oriented songwriting of later efforts, some Def Leppard fans prefer this sound. I can see that. Canadian journalist Martin Popoff praised the album for being one of the most polished and savvy of the new British metal, evoking the sound of acts like Thin Lizzy, UFO, even Queen, and Mott the Hoople. For him, On Through the Night was a welcome breath of fresh air, among the dark, thrashy, and punky music coming from the UK at the time. Rolling Stone's David Fricke reviewed the album favorably on the same wavelength, explaining that it shows they not only respect their elders, they've taken cues from their new wave peers. He also stated that guitarists Pete Willis and Steve Clark shoot from the hip, packing their licks into tight 3-minute pop arrangements, and that lead singer Joe Elliott wails wonderfully in a resonating tenor fortified by backup harmonies and Tom Allen's battery ram production. He concluded that the band displays a wisdom beyond their years in mixing melody and heaviness, coming up with an album that is awfully impressive for a band making its final debut. Sputnik Music's staff reviewed noted that Sputnik Music staff review noted that the middle-class common man image of the new wave of British heavy metal movement partially plays a part in making Def Leppard one of its leaders. He also stated that the band's ambition would never allow them to be tunnel vision, but he concluded that On Through the Night can be categorized as a grower of an album, since the more superficial elements that would appeal to the mainstream will initially distract some listeners from what is actually an incredibly tight musical and vocal performance. Most of the songs on the album were dropped from the band's live setlist after '83, although Rock Brigade and Wasted would see periodic revivals after 2000. Also, the non-album track from the same era titled Good Morning Freedom would be played live in 2013 during the opening to the Viva Hysteria shows. Okay, and that is the information given for this great song and what sounds like to be a really, really excellent album, When the Walls Come Tumbling Down. Earlier Def Leppard when they were still rocking. All right, man, so that concludes our look at this very, very good quad. Really good quad here, Don. And I would say probably the standout for me is Iron Maiden's Prodigal Son. I really like the thought behind it, the intention behind it, and the pattern of the prodigal son. You know, realizing the error of his ways and looking to make amends and make his way back, knowing that there's a price to pay for that and willing to do so. I like that scenario of the prodigal son. They're all pretty stellar, pretty solid. Angel Witch was really cool with their White Witch. That was really cool. I'm thinking perhaps it belongs in a bigger album format as a concept, or maybe it is actually from a concept album. Let me know about that. That'd be really cool. And I like them all. The Saxon Strong Arm of the Law video, and of course what I just mentioned, Def Leppard. I like their sound from back in the day. So big difference, man, between this song and Pour Some Sugar on Me, let me tell you. All right, so that concludes our look at this excellent quad and these four excellent bands. Thanks very much, Don. I appreciate it. Coming up, reactions for Jeffrey, Finesse, Jeff, Jacob, and one or two new patrons as well. And somewhere in here, there's a Led Zeppelin thing going on, a Led Zeppelin factor. I'm not quite sure where, but you'll see that in a couple of days. The Led Zeppelin factor is still strong, and I'm still getting a lot of people pestering me about not doing enough Led Zeppelin. You know, despite the fact that I've done every single song, every single album, and a whole shit ton of bootlegs, probably more than any other reactor on this damn internet, still getting pestered. Can you believe that shit? It's all good though. I still dig Led Zeppelin, and I still have a long way to go in regards to the Led Zeppelin factor, being in the form of interviews, solo works, things like that. So there's some more stuff coming up. I think that there's always going to be a supply and demand for it, and I'm getting supplied regularly a couple of different things here and there. So you'll be seeing a little bit of Led Zeppelin down the road. Anyways, with that said, thanks very much for watching. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.